calories hiking, but because of her name. And Irene's maiden name is Coffin, and there aren't a lot of those around, and so we said, let's go meet her. And the talk was really very good. I'm very pleased to have you here tonight. But she'll be able to tell you how you can get rid of all those excess calories that you've been accumulating. And you can do great things, see beautiful country and all of that. And as you can see from the map, you can go for miles here. So it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome Mary Coffin to our meeting.
I'm very happy to be here because I'm here to talk on behalf of the North Country National Scenic Trail, which was right through your stopping ground here. As a matter of fact, it goes right by your museum in Highland Forest. How many of you were aware of that? A couple of you were. Okay. So I'm very happy to be here. We've been actually doing little presentations for the various towns in the area because we think that this trail is a valuable resource for the communities here. We're hoping, we built the trail, it's open to the public, and we hope people will take advantage of it, hike it. So I'll give you a little glimpse about it. It is a trail that tries to capture environmental uniqueness, wonderful scenery, a lot of different habitats, and historical cultural things as well. And when we started working in the trail here, and we brought the National Park Service and kind of take a look at where we were hoping to route it, they were delighted, in fact, that it went by your museum. At that time, Skyline wasn't built yet, well, just a shelter. And your museum had all of it was the museum there. Now some of your things are also in the Skyline shelter, I believe. I think those are things from the museum that are in the Skyline shelter. But they were just delighted that that resource was going to be on the trail. I need to wake up my computer here. It was sort of sleeping.
If you loosen this, I think. No, I'm sorry, loosen this.
That's the
How did we do this?
So you've probably heard of the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, Canal Divide Trail. There are about 7 or 8 national scenic trails. The North Country National Scenic Trail is the one that goes right through here. It starts in North Dakota. When it's finished, it will end up at Lake Champlain at Crown Point, another historic feature. And it starts at Lake Sakakawea, the Lewis and Clark era, in North Dakota. And when it's finished, it will have 4,600 miles. It will be twice as long as the Appalachian Trail. Right now, I think it's about 2,300 that's finished. I think about 2,300 is complete. And we've been working on a section through here, about a 20-mile section through here. We have another 4 or 5 miles to go, and we will have that section complete. When I say we, different organizations adopt different sections of the trail, kind of like adopting a highway. And the group that's adopted the trail in this area is the Onondaga chapter of the Adirondack Mountain Club. And you'll see me abbreviated as ADKON. That's our abbreviation. But that's not just Onondaga County. It takes in Oswego County, Cayuga County, Cortland, Madison, a little bit of Shenango. That's pretty much sort of a 5-county big area in central New York. Later, when you're sort of milling around, we can come out and take a look at some of the other trails that are in New York State. The DEC made this nice map for us. We also have a booth at the fair. We talk about trail organizations and trails in New York State. And the DEC put this together for us. So you can come out of your seats a little bit later and take a close look and ask me questions about any trails. Earlier, we were talking with Al about the North Placid Trail. He has an interesting story that he can share with you regarding that. So let me take you on a little trip and tell you a little bit about the trail. And especially, we'll focus on eventually on this area here. I'm going to start big. I'll start with the home trail as it crosses the United States, and then zoom right into the Fabius area for you. It's a very special trail because it is supposed to link outstanding scenic, natural, recreational, historic, and cultural sites. I was really excited when Al was talking about the trail in Highland Forest that you're going to be doing, connecting those historic sites. And I'm thinking, I can't volunteer our organization, but if you gave us plenty of time, I'm sure we could get a bunch of people to come out and help you with that. Maybe you want the Georgetown fellows to do like some basic clearing to start with. But if we knew a date that you were gonna be out there working,
Yeah.
I'm sure we could get a handful of folks to come up and help you with that.
Good. Thank you.
So it starts in North Dakota, it crosses Minnesota. I just saw the, the church-based ladies musical last week. And anybody see that? Isn't that a riot? So Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, I'll show you a map in a second, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York State, where it will end at Crown Point. But it may not end at Crown Point, because now Vermont has gotten interested, and they may want to continue it onto the Long Trail and link it up with the Appalachian Trail. That's a possibility. This isn't a great map, but it does show you the 7 states, and it shows you the trail. And the yellow is where it has to yet be completed, and the brownish red is where it is completed. However, there's actually more completed than this map shows. This map is probably 8 years old. A lot has happened in the last 10 years through the trail. You can see in Ohio, instead of cutting right across, it dips way down. Quite a bit of Ohio has canals, and a lot of it's on the canal path in Ohio. This trail is, I do want to give you a picture of the trail, sort of a conceptual picture of the trail before I show you really pictures of the trail. That is designed to be a premier hiking trail, a really nice trail, a special trail. High quality, and there's certain criteria that when we construct the trail, they want us to follow. A certain grade, a certain steepness, so it'll be environmentally friendly, so it won't erode. Other characteristics, you know, like that to make it a very nice trail. We actually had the conference here, the North Country Trail Conference was here in actually just Casanova College as our conference center, their conference center here this year, and a lot of compliments on our trail. A lot of work has been done to try to make it, you know, lay lightly on the land and be environmentally friendly and hiker friendly. But these are just some words that kind of characterize the specialness of this trail. It's not just like any old trail. And that's how we like to think of it. We tried to construct the trail to not be any old trail. It had these high quality characteristics. And we sort of work with the National Park Service. It's not like the feds are out here inspecting our trail, but all of these National Scenic Trails are passed by Congress, approved by Congress, and then they sort of the overseer, the big umbrella, is the National Park Service. And we have the capability of writing grants, and we have written grants for funding to maybe build a bridge or put up the kiosk that we put up in Highland, for example. That was fairly expensive. So we can actually write grants to do work on the trail, and the money comes from the National Park Service. I guess you can say your tax dollars over. You probably recognize Shepherd Pond. That's a really nice little spot
Get
there.
those anymore. I don't know why.
This shows in New York State, it shows the Finger Lakes Trail in red. Let me see if this is working now. I'm in trouble with my batteries earlier. Oh, well, not my batteries are fine. This is the Finger Lakes Trail coming up from right here, from the Pennsylvania state line. And as the North Country National Scenic Trail is constructed, wherever there's another trail that kind of meets these criteria, these oftentimes follow another trail, just like out here, Route 13 and 80 are concurrent. Well, the Finger Lakes Trail is concurrent with the North Country Trail from the Pennsylvania border down here where it comes from Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania to Allegheny State Forest in New York State, and then comes up and touches the bottom of the Finger Lakes. That's where it got its name, the Finger Lakes Trail, and then it comes right up here by Fabius. And this area right here is the section that we work on. Actually, the Onondaga chapter works on it. We have about 100 miles of trail. And we have about 60-some stewards who adopted different sections, a couple miles here, a couple miles there, to help maintain these trails. So this is the part that we've just recently been working on. It comes right by here. But the Finger Lakes Trail continues on down to the Catskills, and it's referred to, its nickname is kind of Allegheny Cat Trail, Allegheny to Catskills. But the part of the Finger Lakes Trail that is concurrent with the North Country Trail is from the Pennsylvania state line, the bottom of the lakes, and it comes right up through here. When you see this FLT sign on the trees that are in a trailhead along the roads, that indicates it's Finger Lakes Trail. And when you see a light blue marker like this, we call it a blaze, on the tree. We don't go around like the Indians with hatchets and actually blazing the trees by, peeling the bark off. But we do put up blazes or scratch a little area in the tree that doesn't, cut into the tree and paint a blaze. And if you follow those blazes in the woods, that's how you find your way to stay on the trail. And we do hope that people will stay on the trail. So the 80K Onondaga chapter of the Adirondack Mountain Club, we have a little committee called North Country Trail Team. That's the NCTT. And it's our mission to extend this Onondaga Trail, which is part of the North Country and Finger Lakes Trail, another 20-ish miles, 20 to 22 miles east from Spruce Pond, just south of the old Agway Farm. Okay. To the Teofnioga Wildlife Management Area, off of Damon Road, Holmes Road, Irish Hill Road, and Woodstock-ish, south of Pass. And it's all a volunteer project, just like your projects are volunteer projects. And we always hope that it will be environmentally friendly trail. I do have some brochures that show this much better than you can see it from here. But this shows the trail coming up, and I'll just give you a little gist of it. Coming up from Tyler, Midland Hill, that area. Here's Labrador Pond. Comes right along the top of Tinker Falls. So when I show you some pictures of the trail, this is what you'll be seeing. It's right along here, the top of Tinker Falls, Jones Hill, the hang glider leap. Does that sound familiar? And then it comes into Morgan Hills. All this green here this is all Morgan Hill State Forest. This section is Labrador Hollow Unique Area. And it kind of cuts down around here. The Shackle Pond is right there. This is Shackle Road. And it comes up toward the, kind of crosses the northern end of Morgan Hill Road. It's called Rolling Hill Road there. Now you guys can tell me whether it's R-A-W or R-O-W, because I've seen it both ways, Rolling Hill Road. There's some local experts that know that. Probably. But if you were to take that dirt road, Morgan Hill Road, from Route 13, you kept going north, eventually it comes right up to right about here. Right in here. Well, we crossed the northern end of it, which is we refer to as Rolling Hill Road. And we have some private landowners here. The trail's probably 50-50 private versus public lands. Most of them live in the town of Fabius. Let you know their names but as they come through here, and I'll show you some pictures. And then it crosses Barking Road. We have a little road walk here. This is Highland Forest. Unfortunately, in this particular projection, Highland Forest doesn't show very well. It's this kind of buff-colored thing here. But then we come right up through Highland Forest. We've constructed trail from Cowles Settlement Road. And later somebody can tell me the origin of Cowles Settlement, because I'm kind of wondering about that. And then we follow the main trail up to the Skyline Center. And as we come up right here, that's where you guys are. Where we cross the road by the old community house. And then on out of the park, and we cross the dam road. We have a little bit of a road walk there. There's some private landowners that take us into DeRuyter State Forest. And with all of that I'm showing you right from here, that is all now complete. And we have just a little bit to get us out of DeRuyter State Forest. We have a complete trail right through here. We have a little more work to do next year, maybe the next 2 years, in the Teofnioga Wildlife Management Area. Try to use your spell check on the word Teofnioga. It always thinks that I'm spelling it wrong. The other thing on my computer, every time I write the word divider, it wants to correct it to say Detroiter. Isn't that strange? Yeah, but we actually have this piece of trail right here, pretty much complete. So that's kind of the gist of it through this area. And when I give you the brochures that you can look at, you can ask questions anytime. This shouldn't be all that formal. Anytime, just pop your hand up and ask a question. So our sponsorship, or the area that we've adopted to construct trail and maintain trail, we have overall we have about 100 miles of trail total. But 53 miles of the main Finger Lakes Trail, FLT is the Finger Lakes Trail, from Tone Road down near Virgil Mountain Greek Peak area, all the way up to Tyler. We have that area. And then we have the Onondaga Trail section that we take care of, from Stony Brook Road, Tyler, Midland Hill, that area, right up to Spruce Pond. And then the extension. Yes?
Do you ever get the other pond open and the move through the Spruce Pond? There's another pond going that way.
East to west, of Spruce Pond.
like right out.
There's Spruce Pond,
There's another pond there.
There's
Well, that's the one she showed us in the picture first, that's down on,
Shagam Pond,
that's down on Shackham Road.
yeah, by the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yes, it goes right by there, it does go by there, it goes right by there. You'll recognize a picture of it in a few minutes, probably, when I show you the House and Family Cemetery there, you may recognize that.
I'll show you where Spruce Pond is, Nita.
Oh, I know where it's from.
Fortunately,
I was told that.
fortunately, the DEC put some big rocks there. First they put big piles of dirt, but people were still able to drive Jeeps down over that, the four-wheel drive things. And some of our trail workers were in there, and they came up through all that Japanese knotweed stuff, that invasive plant that's in there, came up over that. They had a heck of a time getting back up into Shackham Road. So we asked the park ranger if they could put some big rocks there. And of course, usually, like, you ask the county, you ask the DEC to do something, it's like forever. But within a week, they put some big human-sized rocks there to prevent vehicles from trespassing in there.
What's the state doing there at Ticker's Falls?
Okay, at the
That's a
bottom,
new project they're working on in
yeah, at the
there.
bottom of Tinker Falls, they're building a handicap accessible trail for people to go in from
Oh, okay.
91 into Cedar Falls. It's going to be a handicap accessible trail, and I understand that they finished replacing the boardwalk across the road at Labrador Hollow. That was a big project to get done this year. Yeah, finished that. And that's handicap accessible as well.
You know, there was some.
They did. They were
I
replacing it.
figured those great big stones were going out to private people in Tinker's Falls.
The-
They were across the road, and there was, I couldn't read what it said on the.
I haven't been down 91. I've been doing a lot of hiking the Adirondacks the last 6 weeks, so I haven't been down there.
Week or two ago.
70, okay. I haven't been down there recently. And this is where we're going with the trail. There's Spruce Pond. And of course, it's water level depends on the beaver. And here's just a view south of Fabius on Scott Pat Mullen's property. These are some, actually, these gals are, this is taken 3 years ago this spring. These are distance hikers. I hiked with them in the Adirondacks this year. They're doing the Adirondack section. They're going to be end-to-enders, which means they hike from one end to the other in sections. The North Country National Scenic Trail, because it's all north, it's not like the Appalachian Trail where you can start in Georgia and end up in Maine, you know, like 4 or 5 months and you plan it for the seasons. This is all in northern states. So they're doing it in sections and do a little bit each year. Right now they have 3,500 miles. They're 60 and 61. They have 3,500 miles. And their age. Remarkable. And this is just a view of Highland Forest, which is part of the trail. And when we come out of Highland Forest, we come down to the dam road and cross over. And then we go up to Derived Forest. Right on top of there, in that area. Right in a lot of these places. And here's a nice view from the top of Hurt Hill, Ham Armstrong's property, on the other side of Fairbanks, kind of near the old Mystic Mountain ski area. However, you would not see that with your naked eye. I had a telephoto lens. That's Casanova Lake. From the hill south, the hill directly south of New Woodstock. But you can see the lake. It doesn't look quite that clear, but you can see the lake from the top of that hill, which is kind of neat. And this shows a view shooting toward the Teoffield Wildlife Management Area, where our responsibility ends, and another club, another hiking club takes over. So what is the trail all about? It's a narrow, the tread itself is like 2 to 3 feet wide. You want it to lay lightly on the land. It's for foot travel only. We were talking about that before. It's not for ATVs, snowmobiles, bikes. It's just for hiking, skiing, snowshoeing. Actually, it's designed environmentally for that type of use. And our project involves 4-season scouting, which means going out to the woods and looking around to see where there would be a good place for a trail in all different seasons to see what it's like in the winter, what it's like in the spring when it's wet, etc. Then obtaining landowner permission, whether the landowner is the DEC, the state, or whether the landowner is a private landowner. And we do have a number of people in Fabius. Actually, I should have introduced my husband, Bill Coffin, because he's the one that got me into all of this stuff when we retired. And he's the one that's done most of the negotiating with private landowners. Not to be confused with somebody who's saying the other Bill Coffin that lives near here.
Are you related to him?
No,
I don't think he'd know if you tell us.
Are you related to him?
no, there's no relationship. No, I know of. And then we flag the trail and put the big surveyor flags and construct it and blaze it, and we put the marks so the hikers can follow through the woods. And then we ask for certification from the Park Service. And then, unless you have stewards who will adopt the trail and maintain the trail, it's going to grow over, the berry bushes will grow over in a year or two. So we have stewards who maintain the trail, all done by volunteers. At the trailheads, you'll see a sign like this. You see one of these brown fiberglass posts with a symbol on it that represents the North Country Trail, because it's part of all these trails. The symbol that represents the Finger Lakes Trail. You've got the blaze on the tree. You follow the blue markers. That's how you don't get lost in the woods. And a little logo here that shows the 7 states. And then this indicates that this is for hiking only. And here's where we are right now. This has been a 10-year project, and this is how far we got. It's like working on your hands and knees, basically, when you're building the trail in the woods. And we're really proud of the fact that we've got a little over 16 miles and just a few more to go to finish. So a couple of years we should be done. I will have to say that there's hardly anybody under 50 that's working on the trail. We have a few young folks that help us, but for the most part, it's retired folks that have the time to go out both weeks and weekends. It kind of shows the breakdown of this section anyway: state land, county land, private, and temporary road connector. Here's a couple landowners. Scott Bowen. We use his land. He's probably our most active landowner and our most active trail steward, because it comes right down in his land, and the trail does, and he's just out there all the time. Puts a tremendous, in fact, he got an award from the National Park Service this year for his dedication working the trail. And there was 10 out there. There is an opportunity. Has anybody heard about, you've heard about No Child Left Behind? Have you heard about No Child Left Inside? It's a new program passed a couple weeks ago by Congress. It's to encourage environmental activities in schools. And the Tennecs probably pretty much would agree that allowing a trail to go right from the school across their land right up to connect to the trail. And I'm thinking that would be a wonderful project for the kids. They bring all kinds of appreciation for the environment. They might appreciate the trails. They might, if they, hopefully they wouldn't do damage, that sort of thing. Anyway, we have hopes for maybe in the future doing that. There's a teacher at the Fabius High School that I'm going to try to be working with to get something like that going. Hopefully they might get interested in it. This is just the criteria that the National Park Service thinks a high-quality trail should have. Now the tread itself, it's where you're walking, in the woods, is about 2 feet wide, but we clear it another foot on either side, so the berry bushes aren't grabbing you, and you're not getting soaking wet, and it's rained, and the ferns are all wet, and that sort of thing. And about 8 to 10 feet high, so that when we're snowshoeing or skiing, the branches aren't coming down on us, on our heads. And we try to keep our grade or our steepness or our incline at about 10 to 15%. So you can imagine, this is an east-west trail. We're going over all these glacial ridges. We're going up into Highland, over the top and down out of Highland. We're going into Derrida Forest, up and then down. Same thing all across the state, we're doing that. So we don't want to build a trail that's going to go right down the fall line, because that's where the water's going to go. It will belly out and it'll become a little ravine. So we try to keep the grade, we try to keep the curves to get up over these hills kind of gentle. So I have some examples of that. Here it shows how we flag the trail, and the knot tells the trail workers that's the side of the tree that we intend the trail to go on. There's one of our workers using a clinometer. It's a surveyor's instrument. He's actually a retired surveyor, but anybody can use it. So they'll just look through there, and as long as you keep 2 eyes open, and that will tell us the percent grade, so that it doesn't get too steep and cause erosion. Here's a very flat area in Morgan Hill that doesn't really need grading. Now here's an area where it's a 10% grade. It may not look it to you, but it's 10% is not very much of a grade. Actually, this is the uphill downhill part right here. The fall line is the uphill downhill part. If we were to build the trail right straight up and down, not only would it be tough on the hiker, but it would erode. That's where the water would run. So we want it to be an environmentally sound trail. So it kind of curves around the contour lines. If you've ever looked at a map that shows the contour lines, like a topographic map, this kind of follows the contours at a very even grade. Here's some workers. This is how we do it. We have these big, heavy hoe things. Anybody can do it. There's a little boy back there. And we got Tim Hazel hoeing. And this is what it looks like when we're first clearing it. And see this nice gentle curve here? Instead of going straight up the hill and having the trail wash out, we try to go in a very, it's gonna turn here and go back up the hill this way. You could use the word switchbacks, but they're not severe zigzaggy switchbacks unless we actually have
Well,
lights.
that's where your horses not,
Yeah, right.
some of them are also like that.
And here's some of the other criteria. And this, the outslope means the outer edge here. Again, this is just going around the edge of the hill. The outer edge is just a little bit lower so that the water runs off gently instead of having the water run down the trail. And then places where we have to put structure, this is a place where we didn't think, actually that was Abby Woodford's property, but she sold it. This particular part of the trail is Schleck's own part at the other end, and Abby Woodford. Down in, Becky Schleck?
But yeah.
Becky Schleck. Okay. And Bill was really instrumental in helping us get the landowners for these areas. But this area we didn't think was going to be that wet until the Schleck's cows got loose, cattle got loose, and they walked through it. And they poked holes in it, and we realized after a couple of years, just with people walking on it, that's the way it would be. So we had to put these punches and these boardwalks in. And then wherever there's a fence, you want to, blend with the pasture fence. If there's a crop, we always walk around the edge of a farmer's field. If there's a fence, we always build a stile, not a perfect stile, however. Some places where it's kind of steep, we might put some steps in, but you have to dig a hole and kind of set the rocks in. Sometimes we built these box steps and filled them with rocks and soil if it's very steep to get around a corner. This particular place, we had a grant from the National Park Service to build a little bridge because actually it doesn't look like this now. This is about 6 years old, this picture. It's all grown up. It's like weeds are like up to your earlobes now. It's all, right now, asters and goldenrod. It's actually kind of pretty. But this drains the field so they can plow it in the spring. And if we were to block that drainage, then, of course, it would be a little plow. Shack and Brook. This is where the trail crosses Shack Road, fairly close to Route 91. This is Route 91. This bridge, we just had to rebuild it. Vandals destroyed it. They tore it down. We don't know who did it, just like you don't know. They tore it down, burned up parts of it, carted parts of it out. And I don't even say what our suspicions are, because they're my suspicions. And where we are in private land, we like a sign like this that lets the person know who's hiking that it's private land. They should stay in the trail, not wander around, make any herd paths. We have permission from the landowner to walk on the trail, not tread all over the property. So we're hoping that will remind people. This is just the kind of map that you could purchase. That would be a kind of map you could follow and follow the trail. Every year, the last couple of years, we've had some walks in this area. And we met right behind this community center in June to have a hike. And we thought we were trying to get the community people involved. And we have gotten some community people, but actually it's been more of our hikers going around this. Let's see. Sandy, recognize anybody in that picture?
Oh my goodness, I sure do.
That was this June. That was last year.
Yes.
Last year.
Yep,
And isn't Scout part of your group? She part of our group.
they were all ours.
And then Miss Beard, right? Miss Beard Anita's there, right? This gal is she part of your group? She lives in Fabius area.
Mm-hmm.
Can't think of her name right now.
I can't either.
Elaine Tucker, that's who it was.
Oh,
Okay, that was Elaine, and there's the one, yeah. Okay, but, the Native Health and Cast came out, and a bunch of folks from the Adirondack Mountain hike with us. You can see how that same bridge is a little more grown up 2 years later. And there we were in the woods. Did you know what checking on that thing? But the idea was to try to get people from the community, instead of meeting where we usually meet near Syracuse, we met down here, either in Fabius or in Syracuse, so that people hopefully would come and check out the trail. And these are just some pretty pictures of the trail. I just sort of lined up and just, now that we recognize, right? That's right by Shaka Pond. And that's the Haji. Has anybody had a real good rubbing of the dates?
I don't know if you can get a good
Because
look
they're
at those.
they're so badly eroded. And there's the one tree.
One tree is stone growing, tree growing right over it.
Right, and I think it's either, I forgot right now, but it's a big hemlock or a big white pine.
Big hemlock.
And it grows right up out of it. There's a little seedling that fell in front of the stone. 100 years ago or something. Nice foundation, that's the other side of Raleigh Hill Road in Morgan Hill State Forest. So we'd like to try to go by cultural things like that as well as pretty scenes. That's a pretty scene, lunch pool. And then, of course, we do come up with the visitor center. And we have a kiosk there, they built it for us, they used one side, we used the other side of the kiosk, and this has a map on it, you can't see it from here, but there's a map showing the trail that the Park Service made for us, the National Park Service made for us, but Highland County built it for us. They donated it to us. There are other maps there that show people can hike. There you go. Recognize that, see?
Mm-hmm.
So that as the trail crosses the Park Road, right there, we come right by the museum. And I have been in the museum.
Yeah.
More than once. As a matter of fact, I used to take, I was a little crazy when I was teaching, but I used to take students snowshoeing and skiing Highland Forest and staying in cabins with no electricity and no water
Yeah.
during our February break.
We got a big
And
sign,
I always took them up to the museum.
we got a big sign on the left side of the door now.
Okay,
On the wall.
this is last year,
Yeah.
not this year, last year. Yeah. I should get another picture up there. Up, saw that one. There are two of our landowners were the two long distance hikers. That's Pat and Scott Bowen. Another landowner over in DeRider, right in Blue. Some of our hard workers. He's a spring chicken. They're out there working in the mud. Putting in bread. And here's a little bridge they put along Shaka Road where the trail came out. Just this year, we just built the piece between Spruce Pond and Shaka Pond. And here's where it comes out of the road. There's too big of a dip there. We're just hoping the snowplow doesn't take it out. I think they recessed it down into the shoulder now, so the snowplow will take it out. Oh, we like all parts of the year. This is snowshoeing in Highland, so wherever we can snowshoe. And we like to try to see as much nature as well as cultural things. Sometimes we don't actually scare away nature, but we can see evidence of nature. There's some more evidence that the beaver dam last fall in Shaka Pond. Some nature that was before that. It's interesting, these turkey eggs were right next to the trail. Right next to the trail. This is very wildflowers. Fall wildflowers.
Some of those you're not supposed to take.
We don't pick them.
I know, but we used to.
A trillium.
One during schoolhouse, in the spring, we go up into the woods, out and chase them. Big flowers.
Well, I tell you, we don't want to get past this group.
That was,
What happens here stays here.
that was 18 years ago.
That's kind of a nice view. That's actually the steeple in here. The Woodstock. We actually, I don't have a picture here, but there's a nice view from the Schlicker Land out. You can see the steeple down here in Fabius. We go up to, it's actually Schlick's Field.
Peters?
Don and Tinker Falls. Now our trail, the trail that you referred to, the handicap trail, goes in from Route 91, the one that the EC's building, comes in somewhere in the bottom of the falls. Our trail actually crosses the top of the falls down here.
These are big boulders.
That's the county line too.
That's how, just about coming.
Yeah. And when we're finished, and when we get to the junction, the end of our section, this is the mileage going east or west from that particular point. So of the 4,600 miles, we are 4376, about, depending how many curves you can put in, from the end of North Dakota. And we'll be about 419 miles from the Pennsylvania line. Now, I have some brochures up here, I have maps up here, I have brochures that are on the North Country National Scenic Trail. There's an insert in here, a National Park Service insert, so people that are really interested in the trail, that map that I couldn't show you very well is up here. So if you want to get a close look, you're welcome to pick up this brochure. Our project that's right here in this area, another map that didn't show that well, you can take one of these. And I have information on the Finger Lakes Trail as well, which is the Finger Lakes Trail across New York State. So that's my conclusion. I'm here if you want to ask any questions. If you'd like to come out and hike with us sometime on the trail, come join us.
Anybody have any questions?
does the Appalachian Trail go across?
New York State, this green section right here, right down here.
That's the soccer team bridge.
This is the Northville Placid Trail, this red trail there, in the Adirondacks, from Northville to Lake Placid. And this is the part of the Finger Lakes Trail. There's also North Country Trail, in the Onondaga section. And this little ribbon goes out to this piece here. That's the new part that we've been building the last 8 years, slowly, but surely.
You know where the tower was, Morgan's Tower?
It's on the trail, it's just off the trail where the tower was.
Okay, is it a road open to 13?
Morgan Hill Road, yeah, up to 13? Yeah, you go up 13, then how do you get to Jubilee Hollow? You have to turn down Jubilee Hollow. Yeah, but Morgan Hill Road's a dirt road. But you can go from 13, you can go from 13 all the way up, and then it makes a big curve, then it's on Onondaga One Road, which comes out to Shacklin Road. It goes north, you get to the most northern part of that, from 13 up, and you must turn left. There's usually a gate across the part that goes all the way down to. Yeah.
The interesting part of that map there, right here in Fabius, you see, you can hike from Maine to Georgia, right from state. Because it connects with the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
Fabius also is connected to 200 miles into Canada.
You can
Right
take-
now,
You can take this trail
not
here.
in the future, right now.
Right now, you can hike up from Fabius, the Finger Lakes Trail, come down the Conservation Trail, go up here, and you pick up the Bruce Trail in Ontario. You can hike the North Dakota if you want. It's a kind of-
You have to pack a pretty heavy
Yeah.
lunch to do it.
My brother-in-law lives in Truxton. He claims there's a sign there that says it's the Appalachian Trail. And of course, I argue with him for over any little thing, and I told him it can't be the Appalachian Trail, but he insists it is. Is there such a thing as a sign that could say that it connects to the Appalachian Trail or something?
It's the Finger Lakes Trail and North Country Trail. He may have, they're both National Scenic Trails. So maybe he's focused on the National Scenic Trail part.
But they're all that section here is in Onondaga County.
He's close.
Except the
Oh,
falls, that's
Madison.
in Portland County.
The part I talked about today is Onondaga, Portland, Onondaga, Madison,
Yeah, Tinker's Falls, in Portland County,
in Portland, just below the line.
about 500 feet.
Have you hiked any of the Appalachian Trail?
Little parts of it. I haven't done big pieces of it. I might call it this trail. Bill and I liked, Bill's done it twice, the Northville Placid Trail. But that's only 125 miles long. Yeah.
Do you have any dealing with the conservancy?
Personally, we don't, but our organization does, because the Adirondack Mountain Club is a statewide organization of about 30,000 members. And they work with Nature Conservancy quite a bit in the Adirondack Park. And many of the recent purchases in the Adirondack Park, Nature Conservancy purchases, our executive director has done much of the lawyer work and the lobby to get the state funding. It comes from the EPF fund.
My son-in-law works for them, I go there. And that part of his job would be the trails.
Open to maintain. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Oh, neat. Yes, that's great. I'll talk to you more about that. Yes.
With so much of the land being private over which the trail travels,
About 50-50.
how, what sort of a struggle do you have to retain the rights as the property changes hands or is developed?
It's variable, okay? And so, when we can get an easement, official right away, then there's no problem if we get an easement. Because then if it's purchased or inherited or whatever, the trail is there forever. Now, when I say easement, I'm talking about a trail easement, not a conservation easement. A trail easement, if we have a trail easement, the landowner can do anything they pretty much want with the trail. They can log it, they can have a pasture there, they can farm it, plant crops, they can build a road. They just can't build a house on it, let's say, to block it. So that's, most of our landowners, I would say most of them are just an agreement that we just have a handshake agreement followed up with something in writing. And if they decide they don't want us there anymore, then we're gone. We have to find another landowner. And sometimes, actually, we've been really lucky with landowners where somebody has purchased the land, and we approach the new landowner, and if the trail is already there, we've been pretty lucky in supporting the trail. So we've been fortunate that way.
Well, in this
But,
vicinity here, it's taken 14 landowners to get the trail through here. And we haven't even finished the trail yet, 7 of
Right.
them have sold.
right,
Successfully negotiated with a new landowner in
Yeah.
that case.
like when Dot Whitford sold her
You
land
can't
to the
always do
Breeds,
that, but we're pretty lucky.
they were okay with the trail. When Schlick sold to not Don Schlick, but the,
Yeah, David Schlick sold it.
yeah, okay,
Dorothy Whitford sold to Breed.
right. And then we had a couple of changes in Madison County,
That's right.
where it changed hands. But if we can get an easement, that makes it more comfortable, because we do put tons and tons of hours and sweat equity into the trail, and we hope that it would stay. But we're very thankful the landowners let us do it. We're really thankful for the landowners.
It's really
Yeah.
liability for people that offer their land.
Thank you for asking that question, because no. There's a law called the General Obligations Law, so that the landowner has no obligation to maintain the trail, there's no,
Or someone gets hurt.
if somebody gets hurt, they travel there, as long as they don't charge a fee. Now, for example, let's say they were to lease the land for hunting, then the hunting club would have to have like insurance, prohibitive insurance or something like that. But we don't have that kind of arrangement. Our arrangement is such that the land is open free. It doesn't matter whether it's posted or not. If the landowner lets us use the land for free, they have no obligation, no duty to keep up the trail or anything.
I was gonna ask you, if you do fall on a trail and you're, are there no insurance, no question, you're hiking,
Yeah.
does it go on trail limit or club or any?
The
No.
law specifically says the landowner does not even have to patrol the land for hazards.
If you're a member of a club, it might depend on the club. In terms of hiking as a club event, that could depend on the I know you've got some dessert here hanging out, and
Yeah, folks,
I'm
it's
willing to
been,
hang out and answer individual questions, and you don't have to sit down all the time.
Yeah, Mary's good to be
I'll hang
around
out.
here. Two things. One of them, if you haven't signed in, we kind of like to keep track of who's coming. There's a yellow pad back there on the table. And the big deal is the refreshments over here. Wonderful. Come on over and